Upstairs. Uh, what exactly does it take for all of you people who are out here trying to make it in the fight game to reach the highest level of combat? And that's exactly what we're going to get into. There are going to be four pillars that we're going to discuss today. But, you know, before I get started, it is time for you to check in. And I'd like to say special shout out to you guys on this beautiful week that we are actually doing one more thing to improve the sport of boxing. And that includes you. What's going on? Tell me where you are watching from on the face of the planet. And soon as you get done, and I say special thanks to all of our sponsors, our supporters, the people who support Master Boxing, some of those being you, that we make sure that we show gratitude because you could have been a lot of other places today. But fortunately, you came here to learn about some boxing and have some great conversation. And we're going to definitely get into a couple of Q&As. I wanted to make sure that you guys were brought into the complexity of this thing today. So as you see right now, we're doing the check-in. So let me know exactly who's out there and where are you watching from, because we're going to give you some love today. Oh, YouTube. This may be the first time YouTube beat Facebook in checking in. Facebook, step up, raise your game up. What's good? What's going on, Lucas? It's good to see you today. Tell me exactly where you're watching from, brother. I want to definitely know what's popping. And for all of the people who are, oh, Germany. Germany is in the building. Special shouts out from the UK, from the US, South Florida. And we're giving much love to Germany. Let me see who else is out here. Marquise George, what's going on, coach? We got our coaches in the building, hanging out there in Brick City. It's good to hear from you guys. New York, New York, New York. We know you New York, buddy. We know you New York. But today we got something so special for you all. I wanted to make sure that there is no smoke and mirrors with us. One thing that we do here is we make sure that we give you something that's going to benefit you. Everything that takes you to another level will cost some price, whether it's your time, your money, both, your dedication, your sacrifice. But one thing's for sure, we're going to make sure that when you get off of this feed today, you're going to be 10 points higher on your IQ for boxing. And these are the things that most people don't get an opportunity to learn. And we want to share them with you. So without any further ado, it's time to get it popping. I see all my coaches popping in right now. What's going on? We got Edison. Is it Edson? Edson from Zambia. Wow. Special shouts out to you. That's what's up, man. I love that. See, this is what it is about our community. We come together and you guys always come with both guns in hand and blazing. And I appreciate you guys for doing that. Special shouts out to my brother. TSOB is in the building. Top Trainer U, Championship Academy. This is my man, Paul Haraba, coach, that is, from over here in Womambool, Australia. Aussie's in the building all the time representing. And for those of you who have not dropped your comment, let me know where you're watching from. This shout out's for you. I had a couple of people in the feed saying, hey, why you never get to me? Because usually you come in a little late and I may not miss you, but I always try to come back and comment later the next day or so. So don't ever feel fret. Get there the next time, soon as the show starts, because we're going to give you some great food today. And I got some great conversation to share with you. And I have a great special gift for all of you who are here today. So stay tuned until the end, which won't be very long, but sacrifice. Remember, one of the keys to get to that top level is sacrifice and to find somebody that'll push you. And guess what? I'll push you. Coach Thomas Himmelberg, the School of Boxing, Freeport, New York. Check them out. Good day, Coach. It's good to see you, talk to you again. Respect. I got my man, Boyang. Wow, that's a cool name. Where you from? Tell me where you from. I want to know exactly where you reside at, brother. I love that name. Vernon from London, checking in. Yes. Welcome, guys. Look, For everybody else who gets ready to check in, just know that we're about to get it popping right here. And I'm going to go over some things that I wanted to share with you. And before I get started, I want to take us down this road before I give you the 4 pillars of what you're going to need to understand what it takes to actually get to the highest level of boxing. And that's not smoke and mirrors. I mean, literally the real highest level of boxing. If you have any interest in making it, then you got to know what it's going to take. So with that being said, what I'm going to do is go through those things. So I have them in my notes for you to document. And so when you're going through your process and you're working with your athletes, or if you're training, you can look at this docket, and what you can do is you can say, all right, this is where I'm lacking. I'm missing this and this and this. And I can promise you, you won't make the highest level if you don't have all of these things. So I put that question, elite fighter. You hear me say that, but I never use it lightly, because when I first got into the game, it was a very, it was a rude awakening for me, because it's where most people dream to be. But when you get to that place, lights, cameras, action, it's actually happening. You can't go back and try to figure it out. Then you're in the game now. So here's what I'm going to do. I got to share a story about a young man who came into our world. And in the School of Boxing, what we try to do is have conversations with our guys. Each week, I do one-on-ones with those who are in the upper echelon classes. And what we do is we chop it up. So if you guys want to really understand what we do, here's a situation and a scenario. And please be patient and listen. And when you get done with this, just know that this could be you one day, or if it's not already you, your fighter, or whoever is surrounding you. Well, he came into our sanctuary, we call this in the School of Boxing, and he was going to be in a situation that he was going to take a fight. And I got on a call with him and I said, well, what are you going to do? Who's working your corner? He didn't quite even know who was working his corner. And so I was like, well, in order to become an elite fighter, like Errol Spence, Sean Porter, Terrence Crawford, Manny Pacquiao, these guys like that, there takes a team. When you walk into the gym and you see people laying on the wall, like when I went to spar, when we would go up to Baltimore and the guys would be lined up, and I told you we used to go walk up those steps, 20 flights. It's hot outside or cold, it didn't matter. We'd hit the door, we park, we get up to walk those steps. And if you were afraid of heights, the plane was so high that when you look down, it's almost like when you're on a roller coaster and you're taking this deep dive into going up here, and you're walking up these stairwells, the stairwell, and on the side, there are these frames, these picture frames. I'm going to show you. Kind of look like this, right? So each one of those frames was a face. And on the face, it was typically some metal around their neck. And I'm like, okay, these guys are serious. So by the time we got up 30 flights, this is at least 30 steps, man, no doubt. Facts. We go up. I'm already feeling lightheaded because really, this is a steep climb. And we're just going to spar. Gym's hot. If it was in the winter, it would be freezing. So we get up there, and all of these pictures that I saw on the way up the stairs, these guys, I'm walking in there, and it was like, what was that? Was it one of the Rockies or Creed? It was one of the movies where you walk in and you see everybody that you just saw on on those pictures with that medal waiting around the ring. Kids from the age of 14, 12, 14 years old, standing around chewing mouthpieces halfway out their mouth. When you looking up at the ring is just like the stairwell. When you're going up the stairwell, you got to do this because you got to find out where you're going. Then you look in, get in there, and the ring, you got to look up. The ring is like 10 feet high. And then you got that's to the bottom. Like it's twice the height as I was almost. So you had, when you climb into the ring, we had to climb up these stairs. So you're already dealing with different levels of anxiety. You feeling me? Like this is totally off key. I'm out of bounds. Never experienced this. When we walk into our gym, we walk straight on the flat plane. We go into the ring. We take 2 steps up. We're inside of the boxing ring. That's what has been muscle memory for 2 or 3 years before I ever taken my guys to this, monstrosity of a setup for boxing. We get there, and I realize this is exactly what boxing is. It's a bunch of the theater of the unknown. You look up into the ring, you got 250, 60-pound guys throwing heat. One of them happens to be Hasim Rahman. Snot, blood flying out of the ring. I mean, literally on your clothes. You couldn't escape it. It's the highest level of boxing at that point in time. And I had already been in some serious training. I'd already know what serious sparring is. Believe you me, there are levels to sparring. So if you're not familiar with this game, just understand, when I found out that this young man didn't even have a coach, I said, okay, well, this is what you're going to need to do, my friend. You might need to talk to one of our other guys who has also been in the school of boxing for years. And he said, well, I think he's going to try. And I was like, well, you need to find out, because what's happening is the guys are in a position that they are not being groomed to understand what you need to actually reach the highest level of boxing. You look at TV, you see all of these stars, the Devin Haney's and the Tank Davises, and you think, okay, this is my life. I got this. All I got to do is beat some guys. It's so much more than that. And so that's what we're going to go over today. But long story short, with this young man, he had a fight. And so I got on a call with him. And I've done this before. I've done the magic here, right here on my page. I've coached the guy up, because it's only several things that you really need when you're fighting in the boxing ring. And if you've listened to your coach, you already possess those things. It's when we overthink things, when we go wrong. So I'll conclude this story once I go down this list, and then you'll get to hear the rest of this story. First thing you're going to need, all right, we're talking about high level boxing. We're not talking about your local boys club stuff. We're not talking about your local Golden Gloves. We're not talking about that. We're not talking about regionals. We're talking about high level boxing, where the best fighters, the guys, when they are in the amateur, their names are Sugar Ray Leonard. Their names are Thomas the Hitman Hearns. Their names are Andre Ward, gold medal Olympian. When you're going in there against guys who have all of these things in place. And so, who's ready to find out what exactly that you need? Because I'm about to give you the 4 pillars. And from that point on, we're going to go deep in. So give me 1 second. This is a beautiful thing right here. Take us back. Get educated. All right. I got some good stuff here for you guys. So for those of you who are watching right now, don't forget to let me know where you guys are watching from as I get you going. Stay tuned. Here we go. Secrets of boxing. All right. The 4 pillars. Number 1, when you are positioning yourself to be at high level boxing, the first thing you're going to need is the 4 pillars, right? The 5 pillars of footwork, the 4 categories that we're going to go down. I want you all to screenshot this. And if you know somebody that it may be on your team that needs to listen, you might want to, at them and tag them and put their name in the comment box. And even if they don't watch, I'll know you know someone, and we'll make sure that they get an opportunity to see, not only see this, but get the prize that's going to be at the end of the show. Don't forget that. And this is not something light. Like, this is going to be something that you will never forget, and it will change your life 1000% for the rest of your life. All right. So don't pivot and bounce. All right. So 5 pillars of footwork. What are those? The 5 pillars of the footwork. And I'm going to break them down so that you guys realize, and don't try to do this without these freaking moves. Remember, I said earlier, most people, they don't lose fights because of what they know. They lose fights because of what they don't know. And then they also lose because they overthink it. So the first thing you're going to need to be able to do with your footwork, number 1, it's all about the basics. Your footwork. You got to be able to go forward, right? And you got to be able to go backwards. You need to be able to go left, and you need to go right when called upon. The last thing that you're going to need to be able to do is circle. When we break boxing down and simplify it for people, they just like, why is it so hard? Why do people make it so hard? Because you are listening to 500,000 other people. Everybody has like a butthole. Everybody has one, an opinion. Boxing is supposed to be made simple so that you can process it and just stick to your program, your regimen. When you overthink it and start listening to too many people outside of your experience, this is what happens. The next thing, number 2, the second thing out of 4 that you will need to know is the 5 layers of defense. 5 layers of defense. You need to understand how to use your elbows. You need to know how to use your shoulders. You need to know how to utilize your hands, your feet, and box with your mind. How many of you have gone to a boxing gym and everything that you learned the day before, it totally went out of the window when you got there? As soon as the coach called for it, you totally went blank. How many of you have experienced that? How many? Somebody's experienced that. This is an emancipation of what we experience in the sport of boxing, right? It's an overthinking. It's not really having a process in place. And when you have the right opportunity to develop and grow, what you're doing is you're listening to too many different people. So if you have a coach and you know that coach is your coach, you should be somewhere where your coach is giving the information and you should be following that coach. But you should know that all of these other things that's going on are required and they're necessary and they're not to be overlooked. Number 3 is you got to assemble a team. And this is not this thing. I want to box. I want to be a fighter. They don't realize it's 9,000 rules that you got to know about boxing. And then you have to understand the sanctioning bodies. You don't understand the sanctioning bodies. You do not understand the commission. You don't understand the rules of boxing. You know how many rules are in boxing? You just want to go and fight. You can go to a club and fight, but boxing is a science and it's a sport. Just because you have a Nerf football doesn't mean you want to play NFL football. So don't disrespect our sport. Learn the craft, the science, learn the rules, assemble your team, and this is what your team should look like. Number 1, you need a manager. Manager is the person that manages your well-being, your career, guides you and make sure that you're in the right place at the right time for your highest good in boxing. You need the team of coaches. And for those of you who know me, we break the coaches down for you. And those who are not aware how important it is to know the coaches that supposed to support you, what their roles are. There's different coaches. And as you climb the ladder, you learn them all. There are people who've been at the top 10 years and don't understand coaching because their job isn't coaching. It's something totally different. So with that being said, this is what happens. The game throws everybody's thrown off because there's so much other stuff to think about. You're thinking about skills and you need to be focusing on getting the proper coaches. So you have to show your dedication enough for coaches and trainers to want to work with you. Coaches and trainers are not the same thing. Okay. Coaches, boom, they're all about getting you up. The trainers are all about filling you out. Okay. With your mechanics, you got personal trainers, you got coaching trainers, mitts, all of these different people that are experts in their field. And when you're an expert in a field, that means you're an expert in one area. You can't be a jack of all trades like everybody thinks of. But that's what we're here to do in the sport of boxing, is to show you that there is a map to do this thing the right way. You need a PR person. PR people are the people that are going to help you get visibility. They do your public relations. They create the connections for you. You're going to need those. You're going to need to figure out how to get up with Eddie Hearns or our friends out here in Eruption Boxing. I see you in the building. People who are doing it, you got to get connected to those people. And like I said, you guys are so busy not finding the people. Hey, Gwen, how you doing? It's good to see you. Eruption Boxing Management. You get what I'm saying? Like, these people exist for a reason. They're just not around just to be around. They have a real job. Don't underestimate what happens when you don't have a manager. When you don't have a manager, this manager's job is to make sure they find you and bring nothing but smoke on your life. And if you don't pay attention, this is exactly what's going to happen to you, right? Good to see you, Gwen. Next, you're going to need advisors. I've been an advisor, maybe 18 years of my career. I've been advising because you need someone to chop it up with. The person that when things ain't going right and you can't figure out what to do, these are the people that you need to chop it up with so you can know how to do this thing right. Things aren't going the way you need them to. You need advice. And that role is so eminent in your career. It's so important. But you got these guys, and then probably some of you who think you can go fight and you don't have a real grasp on how much you are facing. That's why Floyd ended up 50-0, because he took advantage of what people didn't know, not what they knew. You get what I'm saying? How do you think a guy figured it out? Because he's third generation. I'm third generation training. He was third generation fighter. You just know more than the other guy. And guys who are naive out here thinking I can just wrap my hands up, put in a mouthpiece, and I can go fight a guy who understands all the rules, knows all the sanctioning bodies, connected like your veins and vessels. My guy said, what do you mean circle? Proper circles, we'll get to it. And thanks for asking that question. So your financial advisors, your social media people who are going to make sure, like, I like one thing about Triller. They are very gimmicky, but when I had Steve Cunningham on the show, he was very, very vocal about how serious they were about him doing his social media. And so therefore he couldn't just get away with just, posting one post. You got to do this thing for real. You can't play around with your social media. Social media is your opportunity to get yourself into a position where you can leverage and get more money because you got more followers. Why do you think Ryan Garcia came right into the game and start making big purses? It costs to put on these shows, you know? It costs a ton of money. Sometimes you'll see a promoter burn $1 million. I mean, that's loss. You're probably upset when you pay, your trainer. If you pay your trainer $200, $300, $500 for a fight or a training camp, which ain't nothing. Because you see somebody who really do it, you got to really pay attention to this thing. And when you see somebody who really do this, you got to have your stuff buttoned up. You will not enter this forum without elite awareness. You can't be naive and make it to this level. Publicists, look at what Floyd did. He had his whole team, every single one of those people. Pacquiao, everybody has these people who are going to do that work for you that nobody realizes needs to be done. All right. Kelly Swanson, special shout out to Kelly Swanson. She's been Floyd's publicist for decades. And the thing about it is, what if you see someone else make it to the top and do it in a way nobody's done it, why would you not do it that way? Because that is obviously the way to get at least millions of dollars in success. All right. And there are many other things. The advisor, as I said, and you got to make sure that these things are buttoned up. The next thing you're going to need, number four, you will need to accrue a minimum of 3 fighting styles in order to reach and remain at the highest levels. Each style will offset another fighter's attributes. Needless to say, Devin Haney, classic boxing, then in the shell. Look, Canelo Alvarez, peekaboo style, Mexican style, Philly shell, rolling shoulder. Look, you got to have styles, man. I don't have to preach that, because I know one thing for sure. If you don't have styles, you're going to get eaten alive by guys who are groomed like the fighters that are in our game, because it's not funny. It's not funny to see guys get smashed and they don't, and it's because they're clueless of why. So I'm going to show you guys a little something. Right before I do that, I want you guys to know that I told you before that I was going to give you some information. And if you do it, if you take it with a grain of salt. All right? Don't play. This is the conversation that I had with the young man, and I want you to listen. And after you hear this, I'm going to tell you what you guys will get. And I told you this, and this isn't something that is a joke, and it's not something that's small. It's real, it's big, it's expensive, and it will be yours for taking time to watch and listen and learn, because I'm here for more than just conversating. I'm here to help and guide coaches, those who are running programs, and those who are in the sport of boxing, take the game and what they're capable of doing to an entirely different level, because that's the fiber of which the brand that gave me my opportunity and that I've loved my entire life and that I'm third generation in. And so that's what I'm going to make sure I do, regardless of how much pushback I get. I started out, people said what you were doing. No, how can somebody learn boxing, by watching videos? Well, you're watching my videos, so you must be doing something. And I push through until I start seeing medals, until I start seeing people win, until I see people getting pay-per-views, until I see other coaches and networks reaching out to me and saying, hey, we want to bring you on. Can you work for ESPN? Absolutely. Did it for 4 years. Hey, I want you to help me in this training camp. Absolutely, Coach Kenny Porter. I got you in a world championship fight. Hey, I got somebody I want you to meet. He sounds like he can fight. George Kambosos. Coach Paul Haraber, yeah, I'll school him up, bring him on a fight show. Let's get the smoke. Boom. Beats his first crack at a world title with Tio Lopez. Wins the fight. It's on the record. Every time people give you pushback in your life, that's a sign that you're heading in the right direction. You just got to have the pieces to the puzzle. Take a listen as I go in on this guy in the conversation that opened up. So I guess it's going to work. I guess it didn't want to work. Let me see if it one more time because the conversation was really cool. Hold up. Well, I guess it didn't. Worst case scenario, I'll show you a clip of this conversation was with the young man that I was telling you about that I spoke of that said that he was in a position that he wanted to fight, but he didn't have a coach. And I just said, hey, look, man, you can't take fights without a coach. So being a very big fan of the guy, I really love
anything that happens to you on that fight night, throw you off. Always remember, your fundamentals are going to do it. Footwork, knowing how to spin and move, jab high, jab low, that's what's going to get you through, you know? And I actually got a southpaw in my story walking the guy down. This George is southpaw, touching your boy, high guard and walking him down, touching him. You see it? See, just walking him down, high guard, pop, stepping on pop, 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 and just keep touching. Don't let his head come back, pop, pop. And when his head come back, go to the body, back up, pop, pop. And that's just mixing the combinations up. And when you're doing that, I don't care who you're fighting, that's hard to overcome. We call that putting them into your science, walking them down if you're dealing with a lesser fighter.
Like someone who's not better than you, right?
Yeah. When you're preparing for a fight, man, it's two ways. It's two ways to win the fight. Understand how to form to your opponent, like Bruce Lee said, like water. When they want to fight, you box. When they want to box, you fight. And then understand how to make adjustments. That's it. If you can have great skills, but if you don't know how to make adjustments, you're just going to just have good skills and don't know when to implement them. Anything that you're thinking about that's on your mind that you were thinking about that you would like to know before the fight?
Not really. You told me all about you told me all the things I need to know.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I'll be good, man. I was confident, and then now I'm more confident that I'm gonna win.
Okay, adapting to your opponent is key, but if he is not worthy to be in the ring with you, smoke him.
Five and 0 as a professional. Special shouts out to my brother Boss. That's what happens when you got mentorship, when you got advice, someone to bump advice off that understands the sport of boxing. You understand the principles and the things that matter most. And when you see that that is much more than just a guy developing in boxing, he's developing as a career. He's growing all of the things. His social media is double just from getting advice from me on how to run your social media. If you're an athlete or even if you're a trainer, it matters. I got 275,000 people on this page. You think I just did that because I like boxing? That was because people appreciate what I do. So what I have to do is make sure that the people get something from what I do. They get something from this page that they can take away. So here we're giving you the information that you'll need, because if you don't have the right information, Nothing's going to work. Make sure you subscribe because we're going to give you guys the program that's going to change your life. And it's called Art of Sparring 2.0. The first Art of Sparring was used in the 2021 Olympics. We got gold, we got silver, we got bronze. It was also used in a couple of title fights as of late, like months and weeks. The Art of Sparring is the Bible of knowing how to craft a fight plan, understanding the rhythms of throwing different punches, and knowing how to get yourself to the elite level of boxing. And everybody on this page, when you subscribe, make sure you subscribe. I got to put the website there so you can subscribe. And tomorrow, everybody will get to watch this entire program, the entire program. MasterBoxingLLC.com. I don't care what you do. Do not leave this page without subscribing. If you want to see what real boxing is about, it's a 6-part series and it is loaded. You talk about that boxing life, you always on the page swiping little crummy clips where I say, what do these people do when they get value? When they're shown true value? This is your opportunity. You're going to get to see what it's like to operate, and you're going to see some top fighters, current fighters inside of that training program. One of the top fighters popping up right now is on this training series. So you tell me, are you going to subscribe? Yeah, because that's all you got to do to get a real sneak peek into the highest level of boxing and how to groom a fighter the right way. Not only are you going to learn to groom in the right way, but at the same time, you're going to learn what you need to add and how you need to add it. All of the stuff that I talked about is inside of that. I'm going to take a couple of special shout out. Oh, the subscription thing is down at the bottom. Let me see. Find love on the new dating site. Let me see. I experienced the tunnel vision. Yeah, I see you. Jesus. That tunnel vision when it comes to seeing all of the punches coming, the instinctive side. Yeah. And it continues to change as you go up level. We appreciate you too, brother. We appreciate you too. Everybody, this is what we are doing. We're changing the complexity of boxing. The only reason these guys are going out here getting hurt because they don't know any better. You see fighters right now with coaches in the corner, they're getting blasted because they don't know better. Well, we're changing that through action steps. So without any further ado, it's time to box and time to learn the sport of boxing so that you won't be a victim. You'll be a recipient. And it seems like strings are attached when you get something. This product is valued at, let me tell you, so you understand. I see special shouts out to Hayden. Thanks for shouting out our guy, Paulie's Boxing. The School of Boxing is in the building. Let me see. Let me answer Stephen James. And let me know where you're watching from too, Stephen. Thank you, Coach. How to deal if you are sparring, fighting someone that cheat and the ref don't see it, don't call it, i.e. getting hit with elbows and subtle low blow during a clinch, slight headbutt. That's what we have that's what we have. It's called situational boxing, Stephen. Situational boxing. It's in, I think, it's in module 3 in the art of sparring. The guide, headbutts, swollen eyes, cuts, low blows, knockdowns, everything that happens to you that take a fighter who could possibly be winning the fight and happens to them, and then they just lose composure and don't know what to do. We go through an entire module of how to overcome that. Ask me, why am I doing this? What's the catch? The catch is you better take an opportunity to learn it because I said, and I doubled down that I would commit to teaching you guys the real side of boxing so you would not be delusional. And guess what? As I showed my young man here, advising is a powerful part of this thing. And he went out, took my advice, and applied it. And now he can't just take a fight now. He has to get a matchmaker, in-house matchmaker, basically a person that understands how to groom his career. If he needs to work on fighting against lone fighters, then you fight a lone fighter. If you got to get better at fighting slick fighters, then the next person you fight, you get a good camp, 6 to 8 weeks of serious training, and then you fight a slick fighter. You groom them the right way so they won't have those weaknesses when they get to the highest level. That's why this prepares you for the highest level of boxing. So, Stephan, all you got to do is go up there, subscribe. Do not waste that opportunity, because the triumph is just like you just saw my man. He took a situation that could have went south, not having a coach, not being able to really understand the science of how do I go about doing this. Let me see. Coach Hayden Bull just finished some advanced footwork and 4 rounds on the heavy bag. Loves your work, Coach. Appreciate it. We are blessed to have you as a mentor, Coach. Thank you, MB, School of Boxing. That's right. We in the building. No, we are blessed to have you, because we had the knowledge. What we had to make sure that we could do is find the people to give it to. And therefore, thanks again, Coach Haraber. We have the liberty to take what you're doing and give you something that you can make a decision in your life that will not knock you off course. Because if you can make it through the amateur ranks, get to the professional ranks, have a team surrounding you, getting good advice, having great handlers like Pacquiao did, all of these guys had one thing in common: a team. Andre Ward, Virgil Hunter, all these guys, they had a team of guys who took care of them. They had management. They had good relationships. If it falls out, guess what? You all are on the same page. It's what happens when you growing. You go through growing pains. It's all about a sport of boxing. But if you don't have any of these things, we call you one name. And name calling is bad, but we call you an opponent. And an opponent is somebody you just build a record up off. And so go up here, subscribe to MasterBoxingLLC.com if you want to understand what boxing is about from top to bottom. So we bring you from how you groom as an amateur, and we take you to the guys who are right now the professionals that are golden boy fighters and guys who are signed with Top Rank. So when you pull this up and you start going through those modules, you get one module a day. Every day you get into a different module, and it is massive, and it is nothing like it. No matter where you go looking, nothing like it. It is the absolute pinnacle of boxing. You know why? Because I've been to tons and tons and tons of camps, tons and tons and tons of experience, and tons and tons and tons of decades behind this work. And we put it all in this 6-module deal. It's the biggest program I've ever created by far, almost triple the prior biggest, which is the Peekaboo volumes 1 and 2, which was 5 hours. It doubled that. All right. And they were done 2 years apart. This was done in one big blanket statement. So tomorrow it goes out. If you subscribe, you get it. If you don't, we just call you the opponent. No sweat off our back. But I can promise you this: if you're on the other side, it's gonna probably look like this. Don't be that guy. Okay? Get with the winning team. And I'll see you guys soon in that winner's circle. Let me see. I got one more question. Almost fully healed from a knee injury. Been training cardio and now sparring. Should my next step be Vegas? Walk in the gym ready to go? The fight capital? Well, it takes it's there to be honest, Tina. Tina, the real $1 million baby Lynch. You gotta take an assessment. What are your team members saying? Because they get to see you. I'm from the medical field, so I know what medical situations look like. I worked with a guy. He was the best boxer, probably the best amateur ever. He was 7-time amateur champion. He was Teddy Atlas's favorite diaper dandy, as Dick Vitale says in basketball. But Julius was the nicest boxer. He was like Sugar Ray Robinson, 6'1", smooth as silk, slick and slippery as ice, accurate as a bow and arrow held by Robin Hood. And a point in his career, he got to a point where he felt like, all right, this is what we're doing. I'm going to give you this quick 2-minute story, and then I'll let you make the decision. He was going over to fight in the Bahamas on ESPN. This was 2007. You can pull it up. And I said, it was actually during the camp where we fought Chris Bird. And in that camp, we had killers from all over the nation. So wall to wall were fighters all over the wall, ready to go. And if for those of you who don't understand what a real fight camp looked like, that there's some metal on the line. It's no joke. It's nothing that you've seen on TV. You will not see this on YouTube. No cameras coming to these situations. Only my camera was on, and I got it all. But long story short, Julius was in there against one of these kids. He had a very, very stellar amateur career, Olympic alternate. I think he was an alternate as well. He might have made the Olympics, but this kid was down south. I think he was from Florida, or it was either Atlanta. I think it was Atlanta. Kid was broad shouldered, 6'3", nice hands. Julius was 6'1", pure boxer. Just had got back from a couple of training camps at the Kronk gym. That's what Julius did a lot of training when he came back here. He was home, but when he would train anywhere else, he would either be out there at Roy Jones, out there in St. Pete, or not St. Pete, but out here where Roy Jones is in South Florida, out west, over here on the Panhandle. And they would train and spar, but they came to training camp, and the camp was loaded, man. Julius was busting cats up all the time. But this kid got in the ring with Julius. The kid had dreadlocks. They boxed. Pop, 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 pop. Tina, listen. He popped boxing, and he went in the ring. By the second round, Julius couldn't do the next round. He couldn't do the third round. The kid had hit him so many times. He got out of the ring, eyes red, lips swollen, blood coming out of his mouth, nose busted. He was like, did I hit the dude once? And this is somebody who was like, Pacquiao, when it comes down to offense, he wasn't even sure if he hit the dude. Sometimes you fight somebody who's more equipped than you are, and they're doing more to get ready for battle. Not that they're better fighters, but they are more equipped for battle. Long story short, Julius has a fight on ESPN on the undercard of Chris Bird. Y'all can pull this up. When he got there, he chose not to spar the rest of camp. That was the beginning of camp, need you say. The beginning of camp, he decided not to spar anymore. He said, I'm just going to run miles. I'm going to do 12 miles a day. And he would do it. He would literally do 12 miles. He was in the military and everything. So he had the legs to run 12 miles. So when he did that, what ended up happening is he was pressed by a guy who had been sparring every day. Guy was from Africa, or he was from the Bahamas. He had the Rocky thing going on. The ESPN video, they showed the trailer of the ESPN video, him running, had a whole country behind him, basically. It was just like the scene in Rocky 2. When he got in that ring, he looked like himself the first 2 rounds. 3rd round through the 8th round, he looked nothing like himself because the guy trained him, out-trained him, and Julius was used to beating everybody up. So I'm going to give you some advice. You got to do the other stuff. You got to do the little stuff. You can't just go and start taking fights. You can't just start picking people and saying, yeah, I'm going to get in, because that other person, that could be their only opportunity, and they could have trained exactly that way. So we knew that Julius was the better fighter. He just wasn't there anymore. He just wasn't there. He let a bad sparring session take him out of camp mentally. And that's my advice. Be careful about doing that, because sometimes guys are ready. Let me see. Stephen James. Coach, what are your thoughts about traveling to other gyms to spar? I went to a Mexican gym, and the guy I sparred with had an endless stamina and threw hard punching body shots at me. It was so good. It was some good work. Yeah, but what did you get from the work? You know, what did you get? What did he get from you? Did you give him good work? That's the question. All right. So you got to make sure you're giving the other guy work. He can go hit a bag. You get what I'm saying? So this is what I mean. Y'all go up here and look at the list. You can answer all of these questions if you watch that list. I just went through it all. You do the check the boxes. Tina, have you subscribed to the site? If you haven't subscribed to the site, and Stefan, if you haven't subscribed to the site, subscribe, because you're going to need to know how to measure up what you're doing. You're going to need to know how to measure up what you're doing. If you don't do it the right way, you're going to end up being the other guy, because a lot of people, the guys that are under my tutelage, they got fighters out there. And those fighters are doing the stuff that I'm telling you needs to be done. And if you're avoiding it, you're going to be like Julius. You're going to be 8th round counted out with his person who loves him more than anybody, which was Teddy Atlas. Stefan, go subscribe to masterboxingllc.com. This ain't for me, brother, because I'm doing me. I done me. This is for you. So go up there, subscribe. Tomorrow you'll expect a beautiful email to come through it's going to almost be like, this isn't even real. Why would he do this for me? Why would he do this for us? Why would he do this for me? Because I'm doing my job. Are you doing your job in the sport? You got to carry your weight. So I'm carrying my weight in gold. And I want to make sure that you guys know the people who are out here that you need to know. Now, we just had a manager who was right here on the feed. Would be the best way. Okay, KK, a question. What would be the best way to improve quicker at boxing? What if the other person has better timing? Why are you guys worrying about attributes when you're not even listening? Hey, KK, I love you, brother or sister, whoever you are. I want to take this question and I want to make a point, and then I'll give you some advice. I just said I'm going to give you something that's going to change your entire boxing cachet immediately. And I do appreciate the question, because you're letting us know what you really want to know. Why do you want to be quicker? What do you want to be quicker in? Do you want quicker feet? Do you want quicker hands? Do you want quicker reflexes to get out of the way of punches? What do you want to be quicker at? Because there are a lot of things you want to be quicker in. But remember, the most important element in boxing is timing, not power, not size, not how quick you are. It's timing. Ask Antonio Tarver versus Roy Jones 2. Speed means nothing when timing takes over. Okay? So be careful. All right, Tina, that's what you do. Stefan, I want to see that you subscribe. Don't just talk that talk, because tomorrow you guys are going to get some stuff that is going to what we call supersede where you guys are going, and it's going to be real. Like all of it ain't skills. Some of it is this in your face. It's about immersed conversations that really, because when I always say to guys that if I would have had an opportunity to be mindful of what questions to ask, just like KK just asked here, how can I get quicker? What happens is fighters forget how to ask questions that will help them. So you got to remember how to ask questions. Tina asked a question. Stefan asked a question. Many people had the wherewithal. Hayden gave a special shout out. Jesus, and had their situation. Lucas, same. Special shouts out to my people, Gwen, Vernon, shout out. People have an awareness that there's more to know, but you got to find the questions. Once you start finding the questions, guess what? You can find the answers. And when you got the answers, you're not going into the boxing ring clueless and without the answer. Like I always said, one of my coaches, I won't say his name, said, I can't think of questions because sometimes I think the question is a stupid question. I said, even shoot a stupid question because it might get a brilliant answer. You feel me? Like sometimes even a stupid question, which appears to be a stupid question, comes back with a great answer. And that great answer could supersede how stupid the question could have been in your head. But we all know there are no stupid questions. Just it's only stupid not to ask them. That's all I got for right now. For all of you who are in about that boxing life, thank you guys. I hope you take the gift that you guys will receive tomorrow before Thanksgiving and embrace it and love it and be thankful because that's our gift to you. That's our gift to you. There are times where every time I was trying to do anything, it was trying to accrue revenue so I could build an empire so I can help more people. Now I can give. I can give. And some of you have watched the journey. Some of you have understood this path of what happens when you follow the process. There is a real God. And if you follow the process, boxing will pay you. And it will take you to the level that you wanted to get to. And then you can accomplish the things that you want to in life. So I always say, get up in the morning and make sure you make your connection with yourself. And then make sure you make your connection to the highest above. First, you have to have the awareness to give. And then be willing to receive the abundant flow of prosperity offered by the universe. You got to promise to be at the right place at the right time for your highest good. And that is auto suggestions. And I try to tell people that every time I go live, utilize them and you'll start to speak and the universe will start to speak to you. It'll give when you learn to give, and then you learn to receive, and then you learn proximity is power. Give to someone to help change their life. So I'm giving something to you to help change your life. Therefore, I can receive the abundant flow of prosperity that's offered by the universe. And I will be proximity in the right place at the right time for my highest good. Be blessed. Special shout to my brothers in the School of Boxing and the rest of you guys. I see you all soon. Boom. In the winner's circle. Peace out and enjoy. Art of Sparring 2.0 is going down. Film study tomorrow. So check us out. Everybody that's on that list, it's going down. Film study, the breakdown of some real boxing. Check us out. We're doing it big. Master Boxing LLC. We're in the house.